Hello, folks. My name is Morley Safer, and I'm bringing you tonight's copy of the ABC Evening News. No, not really. My name is J. Edgar Hoover, and I wanted to come on here and tell you that our president really is not a citizen of the United States. His name is Barry Soetoro, and he's from Indonesia, and he doesn't even have a legal birth certificate to be president of the United States. Check out the video clip on my Facebook page. You can see it for yourself. Actually, I was coming on just to kind of test my webcam. Plus, I had a couple of announcements I wanted to make to some people that may be interested in some things that are going on with some Microsoft products right now that may surprise some people if you really understood what was going on with the versions of Windows 7 and Windows 8 that are coming out right now. One of the newer features of the newer touchscreen computers is something called a UEFI boot up, and I'm not exactly sure what that stands for. I'm doing some research into this, and I've been looking into this for about 2 years now, and seeing how during the process of any Windows 7 or 8 setup, if you interrupt the setup process after the first stage of setup, and you plug in what's called a higher-end boot CD or USB and boot up to that, you look and see where there are two directories that are made that are called Panther directories. And you've also, if you look in your Windows directory right now, if you have 7 or 8, you also see a Panther directory. Now my question to you is, why would Windows have any directory in their operating system called a Panther directory or a sysprep? And there's XML files you can read, and you can see where that when you set up Windows 7 or 8, that your installation is actually degraded, and there are network junction points that are placed within your Windows installation that are not within the power of your firewall to stop anybody from Windows or anyone Windows enables to access the files on your hard drive on your computer, no matter what your firewall settings might be or your antivirus cybersecurity program settings might be. Now I've been studying this for 2 years, ever since I was talking to some girl that used to try to have these crazy guys that would try to hack me because she was all crazy about doing all kinds of weird stuff on Skype, and she was being watched, and she's still being watched on Skype because I watched her on Skype myself. She doesn't even know it, but I did, just to see what she was really like and what she was really saying. And I've noticed that if you're smart enough, you're savvy enough to do it, or you're a computer tech, the next time you do a Windows 7 or 8 setup, especially from a cleanly formatted or low-level formatted drive, once you allow the first portion of the setup to go through its completion, where it copies all system files and it says all that, it says preparing to restart in 10 seconds. Once it does that, don't let it boot back up into Windows, but put your higher-end boot CD or your higher-end boot USB boot drive in there and boot up to that, and look in there and look at the temporary files that are created, temporary directories that are created with the name of Panther. And I always delete those and delete all the networking junction points that are automatically placed that give anybody that Microsoft has delegated the ability to be able to hack your computer system, especially if you have foreign language packs on it, as with Windows 7 Ultimate. Foreign hackers can access your computers at any time they want to, with no consent from you necessary. Your computer is automatically networked. When you go online with Windows 7 and 8, especially 8 is notorious for this, with all the so-called apps in the App Store that are automatically enabled in your firewall for them to be able to access your system at any time they want to, indiscriminately and without your consent or knowledge, and really access your whole system by opening up what's called a remote shell upon your system. You can never really remove Internet Explorer from your system. You can go in and change settings, which I've learned to do, and there's actually hundreds of them that can set back, that can slow down some of the processes and slow down some of the things that Windows are able to do, and you can delete the network junction points that automatically enable them to be able to access your files from any point or any place on your computer And there's measures you can take to slow it down, and there's programs you can run that delete temporary files that they use to be able to do this at system startup and also during your system operation that prohibit them from being able to access your files in the way that they have chosen to be able to do. Now, there's an agenda for this, and there's a reason why during the Obama administration this has become a reality. During the last 7 years of Obama's administration and the formation of his special Internet Security Committee or whatever it was, I got news for you folks. We're all being sold out. Everybody wanted to take it for granted like you could years ago that Microsoft Windows was this totally legitimate operating system that only has that Microsoft's only out there for our good, that Microsoft would never do anything to compromise our security or our personal privacy via their operating systems that they so graciously bestow upon us for their ridiculously overpriced nonsense. When there are such good viable alternatives available, such as Ubuntu Linux and other ones, which can still be hacked by Microsoft because Microsoft got real big into interoperability between Windows and Linux, and the Grand bootloader that you'll notice that you'll have on your system, Microsoft's able to access that too. Not meaning to be the harbinger of bad news or anything, but I just wanted to give somebody a heads up. There's been something really funky going on with Microsoft Windows for a few years now, and I've studied this because I've studied this repeatedly during hundreds of Windows 7 and 8 setups that I've done over the last couple of years. Just to give you a heads up, the times we're living in, and this I realized that even if they were confronted and they admitted the honesty of what Microsoft Windows did, how they've collaborated with governments and maybe even foreign governments. They and there's Japanese, Chinese, Korean fonts that are always installed in the boot directory of Windows. Now, why should we have to have Japanese, Chinese, Korean, or other Asian country fonts in the boot directory of our Windows? Some people better wake up and realize that there is no such thing as internet security or privacy anymore. That was done away with. And I'm sure if they were confronted with that fact, they would say something to the effect of, well, it was all done in the name of, the prevention of cyber terrorism, and we don't really spy on anybody. But when every computer comes out with that, and every computer has those abilities incorporated into that operating system for them to be able to look in on you anytime they want to, and access your files anytime they want to, there's something very, very wrong with that. And, the whole concept of there being some type of privacy or some type of, ability to run your computer system privately is not a reality anymore. You have to really know what you're doing in order to even be able to slow down a lot of the things that they do in order to be able to access your computer system anytime they want to, indiscriminately, totally without your knowledge. There are foreign hackers, I truly believe, that have been allowed to and have been initiated to and commanded and given the job of hacking American networks. I've noticed that all the wireless networks in the neighborhood I live in right here are hacked. The wireless networks are all hacked using such tools as somewhat outdated but still functioning wireless network hacking program called Cain and Abel and other ones that you can hack wireless networks with and obtain wireless networking security passwords to access and to infiltrate people's wireless networks with. And I've noticed this going on for a couple of years. And how long it was going on before that, I don't know. But just a heads up that there's some really funky stuff going on with Microsoft Windows. There's some very strange things that are happening, and the general public, as a general rule, has no idea of what's even going on with this. And there's a reason for it, and I believe it has something to do with the end time agenda that our government has for the American people in being able to restrict, infiltrate, totally gain all the knowledge they want to about anybody that uses the internet in the final analysis, and for them to be able to gain all the information they want about you and where your political allegiances may lie at, especially in the days of the Antichrist, which are approaching rapidly. These are the times we're living in. Most people don't realize that internet security and things like that, while there are valid programs that can deal with, that can change things and make your system more secure, by and large, when you first have to set your Windows computer up, your Windows firewall is not even activated. You have to know how to go in to mmc.execute and add snap-ins, control panels, in order to be able to even activate and correctly function and enable your Windows firewall. Not to mention the fact that it comes enabled with so many protocols opened up on it, where people can, not only Microsoft, but hackers who know how to exploit these vulnerabilities, can come in and hack your computer indiscriminately and totally without your knowledge. I would advise anybody who does any kind of online banking or any kind of online financial transactions to be extremely cautious about the information that you divulge on any website, and to be very extremely cautious about any information that you put out about yourself, even as far as social security numbers or whatever, things like any type of personally identifiable private information. I would advise you to be extremely careful about that, because believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I've studied this for 2 solid years, and I've watched this. I've watched this situation materialize right before my very eyes. And people that work for Microsoft, if they were to come out with this, well, guess what? They wouldn't work for Microsoft anymore. Microsoft laid off a lot of people just in the recent past. I'm going to be migrating over to Ubuntu Linux, which is a more secure operating system. But as far as being online, you're going to have to, for somebody to be really secure online, you'd have to really know what you were doing and maintain a low profile, and not make yourself in any way visible on the internet. You would almost have to literally stealth yourself totally on the internet to be able to be assured of any type of real privacy, considering the fact that Microsoft Windows 7 and 8 are both designed to be set up in order for the government or any, I believe, foreign hackers to be able to access your computer systems at will. American networks are being taken over by foreign hackers, and this is part of an agenda of the government we have right now. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why. I'm not this big conspiracy theory guy, but I know what's happening. I've watched this for 2 years. I've watched it evolve, and I know what's going on with it. So I would advise anybody who puts personally identifiable private information on the internet to be very extremely careful about what you actually do use. And they can't watch everybody all at one time. There's no way they can do that, but there's ways that Windows records files that other hackers can go back and check, even checking your page file and your swap file for information. That's why my computer's always set to clear those files at reboot time. And there's many things you can do, and if you want to have your computer worked on, take it to somebody who really knows what they're doing, somebody who has an inkling and an idea of what's really happening with this situation of American internet networks and American networks being invaded by foreign hackers. Because believe me, it's a reality. It's been happening for quite a while. There is a sinister agenda against the American people, and it was initiated by our American government, by one certain individual who is a pencil-neck puppet of an organization called the Illuminati. And their agenda for us in the New World Order is one that is not for the benefit and for the good and of the world and mankind, the masses of mankind and of the countries as we know it right now. Now that does sound sinister, and that does sound conspiracy theory like, but it's also the truth. It's the truth. On the flip side, I want to wish everybody a good weekend, Saturday night, a good weekend, and just say that it's been a beautiful weekend for me, spending time in prayer, spending time getting ready for my brother to come down here from Indianapolis to be with me. We're going to spend some time together, and this might sound crazy after me saying all that, but I want to become Microsoft certified and get a job as an IT specialist working in IT for some company down here in Florida. I don't care who knows about me. I don't care who knows about me telling about these things that I know are true about Microsoft Windows 7 and 8, because anybody that's really computer savvy, and you have to be very intuitive. You have to intuitively look through these things and pick these things out. And not everybody's smart enough to be able to do that. But I am. I'm not bragging on myself, but I am, and I did this over a process of time. And I've been studying this for a long time. I know what I'm talking about. And just be careful about what kind of personally identifiable information that you put on the internet. I would really advise you to do that. Be careful. Be cautious. Watch what you're doing, and always run temporary file cleaners and get some really good anti-malware. ESET Internet Security is a good one. Kaspersky's Internet Security is a good one. Those are two that I've used that have proved to be good, with good firewalls that actually do work and block out protocols that can be used, and they work in conjunction with your Windows properly enabled firewall to keep things out. But anyway, just wanted to tell everybody tonight that it was nice to come on here and just to give a little word of information and kind of give a heads up on what's going on with the situation. And just in case there's a guy named Jack Toko that might see this video clip, I want you to know that Big Daddy John is going to find you, and when I do come across you, you're not going to have any place to run. You're going to have nowhere to run. And your little phone call that you made where you informed me that you robbed me, and I realized I probably shouldn't be putting any kind of personal information in a video file on Facebook, but just in case you see this, Mr. Jack, I want you to know something. You messed up. You messed up, bud. And old Mr. Jim Hollinger, the unwashed and unclean human swine of a man that was so ugly and so vile and such a horrid man, such an ugly man that I wouldn't even urinate on. Don't ever let me catch you out someplace by yourself. Don't ever come around here. Let me catch you someplace by yourself if you value your personal safety. Because even as a Christian man, you done mess with the wrath of a patient man, bud. And you done pushed the wrong buttons, and you done lied about the wrong person, and you said the wrong vicious things to people that knew me, that knew that I wasn't like that, in an attempt to slur my name, and that was stupid of you. And if I ever catch you out by yourself, God help you, because you would not be in good shape once we had our little confrontation. Now, that's just a promise to you. That's not a threat. That's a promise. You mess with the wrong person, bud. You mess with the mighty man. You mess with the man who knows how to get the job done. And idiots like you that have no concept of what decency even is, to speak ill of someone like me is like a dog speaking evil of something so much more than what you would even know how to even begin to be, a piece of trash. But God bless you. Have fun when you're in hell, bud. The good news is Jesus loves us all, and He made a way for us all to go to heaven. And it's okay. The Lord, vengeance is the Lord's. Vengeance is the Lord's. But revenge is going to can become yours if you're done. There is such a thing as righteous anger, and some people don't understand that there is such a thing as righteous anger. And there's a few people that have incurred the righteous anger of this man, that if I get the opportunity to exhibit that towards them, they're going to wish they had never even heard my name spoken before. And I'm not trying to sound like a tough guy, but that's just the way this dude is. This dude don't play, and these people here that thought they were going to play with me made a big mistake. To the unclean, pitiful person in the Philippines, the lady in the Philippines, I would just say that you're pathetic. The way you use people, the way you get used, it's pitiful. I feel sorry for you. God bless you. I hope you find somebody that's just as twisted and ugly as you are. That would be good for you. That suits you right. I'm desperate for things a whole lot bigger and a whole lot greater than that, or you. That's for sure. I love Jesus and I love the Lord. I just don't like wicked people, and I don't have to like wicked people. Nobody does. If you're not a wicked person, you don't have to like. We're not commanded to love wicked people. We're commanded to tolerate them. But anyway, have a good night, everybody. Just wanted to come on here, and plus I'm kind of giving this Logitech webcam a test run and seeing if it's going to stay in sync on Facebook video or not. If the codec pack's working okay or not, and I was just kind of giving that kind of a test run too. So, wishing everyone a good night. This is Morley Safer signing off. Telling you that Jesus loves you. In some people's cases, somebody else may think you're an asshole, but Jesus loves you. And that was a crude comment, wasn't it? Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. I hope.